Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello there, welcome to another edition of your number one program on television, Money Radio. And of course, on this program, we always discuss front page headlines and inside stories of the paper, National Economy, a weekly business paper. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, and I'm your host on this program. With me to discuss the stories on national economy is an in-house analyst and editor of National Economy, Kingsley Allen. Kingsley, welcome to this
thank you.
program.
Thank
Unfortunately, we couldn't be in your airwave space last week, Monday. It was due to some unforeseen circumstances. But we are here now, and of course, we are here to discuss the business news for this week. Starting with the leading headline story on the national economy, it says Nigeria's high production cost, big headache for local manufacturers. Nigeria's high production cost, big headache for local manufacturers as imported goods flourish. This is a headline story on the national economy. Of course, in the previous administration, the borders were closed and there was a ban on imports of goods. Now, a new government is in place, and of course, it came with different policies altogether. Nigeria's high production cost, big headache for local manufacturers as imported goods flourish. That is the headline story on the national economy. And let me quickly see what other stories are on about. Come to the fighting ground of fintech. The story is on page 10 of National Economy. Accelerating propensity and intensity of Nigerian SMEs. Rising misery index under Tinubu's economic policies. So let's first of all discuss the leading story on national economy, a weekly on the stable of Leadership Media Group. Now, Kingsley, back to you. We're talking about Nigeria's high production cost. Of course, it's not a far-fetched given the fact that everything is on the high inflationary trend.
Yeah. Well, I don't think government will only pray that this new regime would do something about this. Because if you go to the markets, practically 80% of that time, especially when they pick off the shelf, foreign made products. Most of them from the Asian countries, especially China, and they are not substandard, so to say. They're also top quality.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is what is even giving us a cause for worry, because you are not grappling with the inferior product. You are grappling with something that is also quality. It's cheaper than what you produce here.
They're having.
That's what they're having.
And you said the headline story says Nigeria's high production cost.
Yeah.
Prior to this one, the prices of goods were also high on the high increase.
Yes.
In the market.
Yes, in the market. You know,
what is the difference now?
The difference is that nothing has come down. Okay, nothing has come down. And at the time also, the previous regime, when they shut the borders to encourage local production, it turned out the other way around.
Yes, the goods were now higher.
They are higher.
And of course, we even have a situation whereby rice that was heavily, we had ACO's borrowers program. CBN was funding or giving incentives to these rice growers. At the end of the day, it didn't bring the prices of rice. It didn't bring
the farmers abused everything.
At the end of the day, it was actually on the rise. You could even buy Nigerian rice, locally made rice, higher than even foreign rice. That was the situation we have on the ground. And now that the borders have been opened, there's room for importation of goods.
Yes.
So what has changed now?
Nothing more has changed.
Nothing more has changed.
Except the challenges the local manufacturers are grappling with at the moment.
And that is high production cost.
Apart from high production, forest shortage. They need to import their raw material. They need to buy machinery. They need forests to do that. At the moment, they don't have it, so to say. And of course, you look at...
but they had a monopoly during the first regime, as you pointed out.
It's not
And
about.
they use that monopoly to also feather their own nest.
No, the problem is that you look at the sector, manufacturing sector. These were basically farmers that were having a field day.
Yes, yes.
But we look
Yes,
at other,
farmers are having
yes.
feed,
So
I
look
agree
at
with
it's
you.
about the sector that was benefiting and doing whatever they thought was fit, and people cannot complain. But the truth of matter, if you look at across board, most local manufacturers are grappling with high taxes. High taxes, and then of course we have the issue of power, which is becoming a recurring decision in this country. It's a perennial problem. Then look at the issue of infrastructure. We don't have that. So as a result, it affects the cost of production. Of course, you look at even transportation. You don't have good road networks, and this is also add to the cost of production with the attendant job losses. You understand? So this is what they are still grappling with. This is what we are praying that this new regime may have to review some of these government policies that has not been favorable to local manufacturers.
However, but there was a report today in one of the dailies that even when some politicians kicked against the economic realities in this administration, even the policies, but Man and Lachima came out to say that no, things are changing for the better.
That is, to me, that's just a mere cheap talk. Those that are feeling the pinch are telling you we need these things put in place so that at least we can be able to compete with these imported goods. At the moment, there's no competition. That's just the way it is. There's absolutely no competition. Even people prefer to buy these foreign-made goods than even the local ones. That's the simple truth, because while the local manufacturer is complaining, he doesn't have this, doesn't have that, he's subjected to high taxes and all of that. People also believe that it has a way of affecting the quality of what they are producing. If you don't have enough raw materials, you must definitely be in the market. So how do you source your materials? So it tells a lot about also the quality of what is coming out. You understand what they want people to get by. The foreign made goods they don't have those challenges.
Yes, and as a writer, you said as imported goods flourish.
Yes.
Now, for the consumers, it's a cheering news,
It is.
because at the end of the day, to force most of these goods, the prices down.
It is. It is sharing news. That's the simple truth, because every day we keep seeing more and more new brands coming into the market.
Yes.
How they enter the country, we don't know, but they are coming into the market. And so these local manufacturers are almost crippled. They can practically at this moment do nothing except government intervenes.
And the intervention, will it be a positive one or a negative one? At the end of the day, given the fact that the high price of goods were much more, and some of imports banned.
What the government even has to start
it's just like a situation we have the Texas. We keep talking about and Nigerian textile industry has been comatose. You discover that given the resources, the high production cost of the textile, if they have to produce, the cost of the textile will be much more than the ones that are imported. And these artisans will not be able to compete favorably with the cost of import.
It has to even to review the taxes these people are subjected to.
Okay.
Multiple taxation is just too much. For people, for a sector you want to encourage, and you are even talking of diversification.
Yes.
And you leave certain things in the name of trying to raise funds to run the government. They need to review some of those taxes. It is necessary. So it's not even it's about government policies. What the regulators are doing with these people in the manufacturing sector. It is very, very important. Government has to revisit them. And then look at the issue of infrastructure. I mean, by now we should have gone past that stage. But we are still there. We have issues of power challenge and all the rest of them. These people are spending a lot to produce every day. Quite unlike the people outside that are bringing their goods here. So government should be able to at least let's review some of these policies. Let's look at how we can put necessary infrastructure in place. And also let them also look at possible, easy access to funds, loans, and all the rest of them to enable them be able to, run smoothly without hitches. At the moment, many of them are having challenges with that.
This is sad. So, at the end of the day, what is the best way to go?
the best way to go is for government to simply overhaul all those policies, as regards this sector, the policies that have been in place that are actually hampering local manufacturing. And they should also encourage. Yeah, much as I know they have tried in the past to do that by way of encouraging made in Nigeria products and all the rest of them, but then you are encouraging them. That again, you also setting some, you are putting some stumbling blocks on the way. They should encourage here, but the only way to go about it is that open up that sector. Open up that sector. I agree with the idea of opening the borders again. It now opens the door for competition, but it has to be on a level playing ground. At the moment, it is not. So government should actually start thinking of what do we do now? Look at the rules. How do we fix the rules? The past regime, made some little effort and made so much noise about it.
About the infrastructure. But
About the
then we were told
infrastructure,
that
but
about 34 roads were left unattended.
Yes, after
Finish.
all the noise, because I think there is more of all the hype, they will make all the noise. We have done this, we have done that. Now we are faced with the reality that in the recess of the world, maybe just 10% of those things were actually done. So government should actually think of how to go back and make sure we have good roads, so that people don't lose their jobs to start with. And not to even talk of now, the prices of things are on the high side. When they remove subsidy, it affects practically the price of every item. That means for the local manufacturer, it may have to be spending more, in terms of power, in terms of logistics, you will spend more. So government has to open up that sector.
Yes, thank you so much. And we also have a story that I feel is also part of what we are just discussing, and that is rising misery index under Tinubu's economic policies. Perhaps you want to share light looking at it from this angle.
It's just the same thing. People are not finding it easy anymore.
Share more light.
Yes, people are not finding it easy anymore. When you remove subsidy, people expected it to come up with palliatives that will help to cushion the impact of those things. It has not happened. Then, of course, you also look at the issue of electricity tariff.
But of course, that one has been suspended.
It has been suspended, but we're not told that they shaved it off completely. Maybe you know how government runs. They will call labor, they will discuss, they say they are negotiating. So while they are still negotiating, they will say, okay, let's suspend it. They suspend. Tomorrow they'll come back again. NEC will also come and tell you by their law establishing them, they have the right to review this from time to time. So the truth about it, at some point, they are still going to go back to it.
Yes, I agree with you, because most times they don't all the hike or tariff, in tariff they didn't even bother to announce.
They didn't announce
you just go buy your units and you discover that it has reduced the amount you used to buy. And that's what they have been doing over the years. Nothing has been done about it. Well, viewers, this is where we end the first segment of the program. We are going on a break. When we come back, there's so much to look at. We have other interesting stories inside pages. Don't go away, just stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. This is Morning Radio every Monday, where we review and discuss front page stories on national economy, leadership, stable fever. And I always have with me in the studio to review it an in-house analyst and editor of national economy, Kingsley Alu.
Thank you.
Kingsley, thank you so much once again. And of course, the headline story for this week's national economy is on Nigeria's high production cost, big headache for local manufacturers as imported goods flourish. First, before we go back to the latest story, we are going to be looking at some of the inside pages, starting with page 3 of the paper, which is the editorial. The editorial is on towards reviving Nigeria's mining sector. Towards reviving Nigeria's mining sector. And the snippet of that says Nigeria, often referred to as the giant of Africa, immense potential to diversify its economy and reduce its over-reliance on oil revenues. While the nation has historically depended on the oil and gas sector, there is a promising avenue waiting to be explored, the mining sector. And of course, the editorial ends with, however, success in revitalizing the mining sector requires a concerted effort from the government, private sector, and civil society. Let us harness the wet beneath our feet, unlock the doors to economic revival, and pave the way for a prosperous future for Nigeria and its citizens. From that editorial page, we move over to the page 5, sorry, of the paper. Page 5 is on Nigeria's debt servicing. It says Nigeria's debt servicing got 4.6 trillion naira in 15 months. Nigeria's debt servicing gulped 4.6 trillion naira in 15 months. Geometric power plant to commence power generation in 2 months. That is some stories you want to see more on national economy. From that page 5, we move over to human resource page. Building sustainable business practices. Building sustainable business practices. Business can lower their expenses and emissions by reducing energy usage and becoming more efficient. Human resources for organizations, building sustainable business practices. From that page 7, we move over to page 9, page 8, accelerating propensity and intensity of Nigerian SMEs. And page 9, we have the best route to economic development. The best route to economic development. From that, we move over to page 10. Page 10 is comment. Come to the fighting ground of fintech. Come to the fighting ground of fintech. The fighting ground of all fintech and alternative banking services providers is customer onboarding. To succeed in this fight, strict adherence to KYC measures prevails. For more on that, you just have to log on to the website to read more on welcome to come to the fighting ground of fintech. From that page, we move over to page 12 of the paper. Page 12 is on rising misery index under Tinubu's economic policies. Rising misery index under Tinubu's economic policies. And of course, underneath it, we have fiscal policy addressing Nigeria's youth unemployment crisis, empowering the nation's future. From page 12, we want to see what page 15 is saying. Page 15 is money guide. You see, national economy has pages on all sectors, virtually on all sectors of the economy. And we have money guide. Money guide says processing claims from NDIC for dissolved banks customers. Processing claims from NDIC for dissolved banks customers. That is money guide. If you are among those that they have their phones, their accounts with defunct banks, you just have to read it. It's for you to know how you can go about having your money back. From page 15 of Money Guard, we are on to page 16. Let's see what page 16 of the paper is saying. Page 16 says, Companies and markets. The next EKEDC raises alarm over rising cases of vandalism and illegal connection. EKEDC, that is a co-electricity distribution company, raises the alarm over rising cases of vandalism, illegal connection. From that, we are onto the technology page of the paper. Nota building capacity for commercialization of R&D results. Nota building capacity for commercialization of R&D, that is research and development results. That is on page 17, technology page of the paper. From that, we move over to page 18. It's an opinion, and it says President Tinubu and issues on monetary policy. President Tinubu and issues on monetary policy. The quote there says, interest rate reduction, which President Tinubu indicated in his inaugural speech, can stimulate economic growth and employment, but that can also create easy money, which can escalate inflation. For more that, you just have to log on to National Economy website, www.nationaleconomy.com. We are moving ahead because there's so much in this paper today, and that is on page, okay, we just saw page 18. And we can also have a look of on page 19, which is energy page, transparency in Nigeria's extractive industry and boarding of beneficial ownership strategy. From that, we move over to the back page of the paper. The back page, it is the analyst unraveling Nigeria's trilemma, not even dilemma, trilemma, a political dance with monetary policy. Unraveling Nigeria's that trilemma, a political dance with monetary policy. That is the back page, the analyst, which is the analyst of the paper. Now, Kingsley, just as before we go over to the headline story, I want us to shed light on a few subsidy removal, enlightening Nigerian masses on long-term benefits. Enlightening Nigerian masses on long-term benefits. But as it is now, Nigerians are not actually seeing the long picture, given the hardship being inflicted by subsidy removal.
Yes.
You think the federal government has done enough to enlighten?
No, government has not even, I don't even think they have done any enlightenment. You see, before you can come and start doing any enlightenment for, especially this regards this, you should be able to say, these and these and these are the things I have now on ground to help you navigate to the next stage of this. But at the moment, government doesn't have any. And so that's why maybe they are just a bit, foot dragging on, doing a very comprehensive enlightenment, campaign to let people know that in the long run, they're going to benefit. Because actually, in the long run, Nigerians will benefit. Will be better for it. But in the short run, everything is just going hyper now because nothing seems to be under control anymore.
But however, you've noticed that actually black marketers have actually disappeared in the FCT, talking about FCT, unlike before it was cheaper.
Yeah, it's part of what was expected.
They have actually disappeared. Nobody's selling black market.
No, it's
you
part
can
of,
actually drive to a filling station.
Yes, yes, of course. It was part of what was expected. The moment this subsidy thing was removed, we expect also the black market to go. Because they were all the while they have been there, cashing in on the subsidy thing. So you go to the filling station, you buy the cheaper rate, you stand by the roadside, you sell at a higher rate. But right now, this is the uniform price across board. Everybody buys it. You go to filling station and you will get them. Everybody expected that. Also, number of the so-called 66 million liters they claim they were. Now, as the last count, they see it has dropped to about 28 million and all the rest of them. Because there were people from neighboring countries that will come to Nigeria and then buy it at a very cheap price, then go back there and sell. So most of our customers...
And they will say that, yes, they will collect subsidy for it.
They will collect subsidy for it. And so most of our customers in the recess of the world, even people from outside that will come here and make a kill. So all those things we know, these things are bound to happen. Availability of fuel, we know that those things will happen. The moment the subsidy thing was removed, We know it was time for it to go. It has something to go because you can't keep reaching a few group of people, criminal element that should be rotting away in jail by now. So we know that people expected it to come. But why we are faulting this government now is because up to now, come up with measures. You don't just say, I'm going to remove this thing, and then you don't tell somebody, where will I sleep? There was no such arrangement. So that is the reason why it will appear that people they are not actually receiving this thing very well.
All right. Now back to the leading story. Imported goods flourish. That is a rider and
Yes.
there's so much interest. Now, as imported goods flourish in the country, what what's the view? Is it good for the masses? Good for the country? Even though it's good for is a anathema to the local manufacturers. But how will you capture
For the
masses?
general population,
Yes.
if it is good.
Yes.
Well, for those that are buying and they are buying cheaper, to them is good. Do you understand me? Because let's say you went to the market, you want to purchase an item, let's just say one item like that, and you look at the two products. This is quality, this is quality, but this is cheaper, but it's still quality. You pick the one that is cheaper.
Yes.
So it won't because of the fact that government has not provided this enabling structures for the local manufacturing. You won't because of the fact of condemning foreign manufactured goods. No, you don't do that. The challenge on the part of the government is to make sure that they create a level playing ground for these local manufacturers. It should actually make them to sit up. That's the simple truth. That is, if it's a sensible government that is very sensitive to the feelings and plight of the people, it should actually make government now to start looking at how do we do this. Because there is nothing government can do at the moment to stop the influence of these foreign made goods. Nothing they can do about it. There's nothing they can do. Nothing. So if it is a task thing that is also disrupting, remove it. Power, it has to be a
It
constant.
has to.
Yes, you have to do something about it. It's not time for all this politics and the frivolous arrangements here and there. They have to actually come up with something that will convince the people that, yeah, this is locally manufactured. It is as good as the foreign one. Do you understand me? Leave them with the option of making their choices. But at the moment, they don't have much because the truth is that they go to the shops, they buy these things, they know which is cheaper for them. For now, most Nigerians now, about at least 60 or 70% of them, what is paramount in their mind is how to survive.
Yes.
That's what is important. So any other thing we're just saying just to be talking, that is what is paramount. And so long as what they are consuming is good, why not? They go around and do it.
And they are not bothered about where it comes from.
No, sometimes they may, the funny thing about this is that people always believe that everything made abroad is super quality and all the rest of them. Gone are the days when they will say this one was made here. Before it was Taiwan, people were like made in Taiwan. But now Taiwanese products are very, very top quality. So, and these people also looking to capture our market because when their manufacturers produce it, they need this market. They need these markets to be able to sell. So they also coming up with how do we make this cheaper? How do we mass
Tony.
Yeah.
So, viewers, for more stories, you just have to log on to the website of National Economy, www.nationaleconomy.com. And this is where we come to today's morning radio, brought to you on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Obebo, and with me in the studio has been the editor of the National Economy, Kingsley Alu. Kingsley,
Thank you.
next week is another day,
Thank you.
and you will teach two viewers. This is what we end it. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.